So what I wanted to talk about for my presentation has largely to do with social norms, sociological imagination, and social breaching experiments. And I want to talk about them in terms of my autistic brother, Sam. So in one of the readings from earlier in the semester, we learned about social breaching experiments. And that is when someone intentionally violates a social norm to see what will happen and kind of observe the nature of that norm in society, what happens when it's violated versus when it's upheld. So my brother Sam, he does these social breaching experiments all the time. And I never really noticed until in the lecture, Professor Blackstone pointed out that a very mundane interaction had between the author's autistic son and a grocery store clerk really revealed a lot, if looked at through a different lens, through a sociological lens. And I was like, wow, that's true. Sam has all these mundane interactions, my autistic brother, and I haven't been viewing them through the sociological lens of, oh, he's violating these social norms and this is happening. And it is just so much more interesting to me now to think about the things that he does and the effects that they have. So I talked to Sam a little bit about this, and I just wanted to ask him, do you realize you're violating these norms? Do you notice reactions from the people around you when you violate them versus uphold them? And he told me, well, how am I supposed to know these norms even exist if nobody tells me? And I was like, well, that's true. These norms are very largely unspoken in society. And so, although they're pretty obvious to neurotypical people, autistic people who don't have the same level of social functioning, it doesn't come as easy to them. And I think that can leave them out of a lot of interactions, but I think it can also lead to a lot of interactions that are more true and fulfilling to an individual because you're not dodging around all the social norms to make sure that you are being perceived in a certain way. Because Sam doesn't do that. He just presents himself as he is. He is just Sam. And social norms, they exist everywhere. They're very ingrained in us. And it made me think, when we follow these social norms, where do we think that is coming from? Do we think that we follow social norms because it's a personal choice? Like, a lot of people might say, "Oh, I stand in line and I don't talk loud in the movies and I don't say like I don't talk the same way to my teachers as I do to my friends because that's a personal choice. I don't want to come off that way. I don't want to be rude." But in reality, in terms of the sociological imagination, which basically just looks at society as a whole and our actions and our decisions in terms of society as a whole rather than as individuals. And that definitely can be applied to social norms. People think they listen to social norms for personal reasons, but in reality, I think we do it because the rest of society does it. If people weren't waiting in line and they were pushing and shoving to get to the front, don't you, maybe everybody else would be doing the same thing. And when I asked my mom why she abides by social norms, she told me the same thing. She said, it's for personal reasons. I think it's the right thing to do. But in reality, it's just what the rest of society does. So I thought that was very interesting.